Good evening, Facebook. I am trying to mirror Blog Talk Radio, so we're going to hear this music for a little bit before we move forward. I just want you to come online, and while you're coming online, we're just going to listen to this music.
And now it's something I have to come to terms with. I don't know who I am anymore. I don't know what I'm fighting for.
This may be you not knowing who you are anymore, but God knows you. I just want the music, to listen to the words to this music before we start our live broadcast. What we're doing today, we have combined the streaming platforms of Blog Talk Radio, Elations Radio, as well as the JADASA Live and YouTube, all streamlining on StreamYard. And so as of this broadcast, I probably should have started it maybe 3 to 4 minutes after the actual blog talk, because we are listening to music right now. So bear with me on this first combined platform, but as soon as the music stops on the Blog Talk Radio, we will move forward in our program, and I promise you there's something that can help you, your family, your friends, anybody you know that may be going through something. So I ask you to bear with me and to remain on this platform with me.
So I realize with everything I try, nothing feels like home.
So everything is a trial and error. We learn by things. Things may not operate or work the way we want it to work, but we should be able to be flexible and adaptable, because everything happens for a reason. So this is something that I have learned. It didn't just come easy for me. Yes, did I bang my head a lot of times? Yes, but I think I have matured enough to know that when things don't go exactly the way I have it planned, it goes the way God has it planned. So who am I? We think things are working the way we want, and we have everything planned out, and God just sits back here and laughs and says, okay, so that's what she thinks. So this is not a minor setback. This is just us waiting for people to come online, and when this music goes off on the Blog Talk platform, we will go forward with our JADASA Live. So I'm asking you to stay with me for about a minute or so, and then we will make sure that we push the time back out for the streaming 4 to 5 minutes after the Blog Talk, so everything can sync. So I just ask for you to remain with me for a few minutes.
I'll come to the end of me. I'll come to the end.
Okay, there it goes. So, here we are again, JADASA Live broadcast on Elations Radio, as well as on JADASA Live, and we are also on YouTube. We are on a new platform that is combined into one online platform to bring you the same information on all platforms. I did not want to do 2 different platforms to make it seem like it was rehearsed. I have topics I want to talk about, but how it comes out and what else may come to mind, I want it to be genuine and from my heart. And I just don't think I could do that back to back with 2 different programmings. I don't want to be doing that to anybody. I don't want to feel like I'm rehearsed, because I wouldn't want anybody to talk to me rehearsed. So I am your host, Cynthia Bennett, here on the JADASA Live podcast. We talk about issues dealing with domestic abuse and sexual abuse and neglect in the community. Our platform is used to raise awareness, provide resources, and offer hope through educating, edifying, and encouraging. I want to thank our viewers on all of the platforms that listening and who are viewing us. And I ask you that if this podcast is helping and assist you, your family, your friends, your associates, or your neighbors, or anybody you ask to come on this platform in any shape, form, or fashion. The JADASA organization is asking you to donate into this much needed cause to help victims and survivors and their children. You can do this by going to our website at www.jadasa.org, hit the PayPal donate button, or you can go to the paypal.me org and hit JADASA.org in one word. And we also have Cash App at JADASA STL. Your donations are fully tax deductible. But before we get started, I am going to try to get some background. Many of you know that October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And this month, there is a lot of activity surrounding the cause. And the cause is to raise awareness. It is to celebrate those who have survived a horrific ordeal, whatever that ordeal is. And it is also to more memorialize the taken, to let them know that we have not forgotten you. We will not forget you. And so there's a lot of things, a lot of information that's going out. I'm going to put stuff up on the PowerPoint presentation to let you know what JADASA is involved in during this month of awareness. Of course, it's JADASA all the time, 24/7, 365, all day, every day. But for the month of October, there is a lot of resources, a lot of things that's going on. I don't even have all the presentations up on my PowerPoint to even talk about yet. I will add more next week. So we are involved in a lot of fundraising and awareness causes to help survivors of abuse and neglect. And so I am going to share some of the things that we are involved in this month. And I would just hope that you guys could be a part of, what we have going on, because this is about raising awareness. This is about helping our survivors to be a part, to share with them. And so I just want to share with you some of the things that we have going on. Let me put it on this presentation mode so you can see it a little bit better. So I'm going to try. Okay, there we have the presentation mode, and it's going backwards. So let me start this over again, because I really want you guys to be able to see what we have going on. So I'm just going to put it up right here this way. So I want to go back. Let me go back. The first one, as you guys know, Sister Sis. This is a weekly closed support group session that we have started last Wednesday, but it's every Wednesday. It is closed. And what it is, we ask you to go out on the website to register, or you can call the 800 number that's on that flyer, or you can email us. This is not going to be televised. There's not going to be any pictures. And then this is just what it says. It's a closed support circle to talk about issues that women go through, help us work through things or whatever the issue is, and to share, give testimonies, to give encouragement. This is what it is, a Sister Sis circle. However, this Wednesday, I want you guys, this is free. Now, you all know free is free. Everything is not free, but this one is free to you. We are having this Wednesday, September the 22nd, from 7:30 to 8:30. We are having free hand-to-hand combat training. And this is with Everett Townsend of Townsend Defense. This brother is phenomenal, let me tell you. And so if you want to learn how to do hand-to-hand combat training, self-defense, I'm asking you to sign up. This training is free to you. Everett is coming out. He's going to be here. We're going to be providing latex gloves and masks. If you don't have a mask, we will provide that to you if you sign up for this event. This is a one-time event. I don't know when it's going to come back around, but I know for right now, This is this Wednesday, September 22nd from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. And this is free hand-to-hand combat training with Everett Townsend of Townsend Defense. I have worked with him. I have gotten my CCW. I have gotten my CCW license through him. He is legit. You can go to his web page. You can go to a Facebook page on the Townsend Defense to see all what he offers. But if you want to come out and be a part of this, again, it is this Wednesday. I need you to sign up because the space is limited. We are going to be social distancing, but we are also going to be providing latex gloves and masks if you don't bring or have a mask. So we are still going to learn how to defend ourselves through hand-to-hand combat, but we're going to do it socially distanced, and we're going to make sure we are covered. Okay? So please register for that. Also, this Sunday, let me see if I can click over here. Next Sunday, October the 3rd, the church I attend, Faith Miracle Temple, who is sponsoring JADASA and have always sponsored us. We're going to be having a domestic violence awareness, which is going to be Sunday, October the 3rd, which is next Sunday, not this Sunday coming up, next Sunday. And the theme is Love Shouldn't Hurt. You all need to come out and hear, be a part of this. This is a part of domestic violence awareness. This is a part of the initiative that we're having in October. We're having different organizations who are coming out, participating. And this is one of the ways that the church that I attend, who sponsors JADASA full and wholeheartedly, they sponsor us, and they sponsor us with their money, their mission. They sponsor, they're backing us. So they're putting their money where their mouth is. So if you see our Bishop, Larry J. Baylor, and our Pastor Marlon T. Baylor, they are the ones who are sponsoring, and the church is backing us for this event, an awareness event to talk about abuse and just to be a part. Come out. The t-shirts now, I think we may have maybe 5 t-shirts left, but the t-shirts and masks are all sold out. So, but we want you all to come down, dress down in your purple. If you have purple, come and dress down and be a part of this special event with us. And so that is Sunday, October 3rd. And so we have another event that week. This is our online game night. This is what we normally have on the second Saturday in October. Everybody know we always have a 3K, 5K race against abuse. Well, we're thinking about you. And so we did not put this race on this year because of naturally COVID and the variant. And so we did not want to put this together because, there's still, the pandemic is still out there. But instead, you can still participate and be a part of this online game night in your comfort of your home. This is $30. It's from 7 to 9 o'clock. Zoom opens at 6:30. Let me tell you what your $30. One $30 ticket will help a mother with a bag of diapers and a can of formula for her infant child. That $130. $130 can help us put a mother or a survivor on a one-way bus fare or a one-way train fare to escape her abuser. That $130. That $130 can provide a meal for a mother and 2 kids. One meal for a mother and 2 kids. Your $30 can provide resources to a small family, emergency resources such as toiletries and things of that nature. So your $30 can make a big difference in somebody's life. So we're asking you to go out there. It's on eventbrite.com right now. Go to the online game night. We're going to have trivia. We're going to have cahoots. We're going to have scavenger hunt. And it's all going to be in the comfort of your home. And it's going to be via Zoom. Once you pay your $30 through Eventbrite, the morning of October the 5th, we will shoot you the Zoom link to come in. There are door prizes. We are giving away gift cards, e-cards, or things of that nature. But this is to bring resources to help survivors. I have, again, told you about the $30. That $30 makes an impact on somebody's life. that $130. And finally that week, and again, I did not put all of the events out there. I'm waiting to add more. I will add more. Now, this one, JADASA is in corroboration with Barkham's Life Celebration Center. I think Barkham is very well known in the metropolitan St. Louis area. And so they are in corroboration with JADASA, and we're putting on a women's community panel. It's called Step Into Your Great. You see all these lovely ladies on this flyer. We have a saxophonist. We have a comedian, Vicky Calmise of Health Hilarious. We have all these panels. Regina Barkham, who is the co-owner of Barkham's Life Celebration Center. We have Sarah White, who is the founder of New Beginnings Safe House. We have Allison Postgay, who is the founder of Empowering Visions. We have Donna Scott, who is the founder of Unmasking Suicide. And of course, we have me, myself, Cynthia Bennett, who is the founder of JADASA. All of us will be able to come together and share things and provide resources. This event is free. However, space is limited. We are making sure it's going to be a sit down. It's going to be a buffet. All of this stuff. We have the live music. We have the games. We have the giveaways. We have the comedy. We have the panel. All you need to do is go to the website at JADASA and sign up. I got Eventbrite, but go to jadasa.org and sign up. It's at the bottom of the first page. Go to jadasa.org and sign up for this event. This is free, you all, to give back to the community, give back resources to the community. And so these are some of the events that we are having for the month of October to bring resources, to bring awareness, because we're educating, we're edifying, and we are lifting up anybody that needs. You don't have to have gone through some type of abuse, a setback, whatever the setback is, whatever that setback is that you have gone through, or maybe you haven't gone through yourself. Maybe you are helping someone else. Maybe you know somebody else that went through it. And so I'm trying to stop sharing, you all. And so what we're doing is we want you to come and be a part of all of these events that we're having. It's for you in mind. And so, again, October is Domestic Abuse Awareness Month. We know there's a couple of other awareness that is celebrated or that is raised for different causes. But I am an advocate from domestic and sexual abuse. And this is something we have. October is a very, very busy month for JADASA. We are a part of a lot of other things that we haven't put the flyers out, but I will be adding next week. But for now, this week, today, if you want to be a part of the hand-to-hand combat defense, self-defense training, which is free to you, we are providing the latex gloves. We are providing the mask if you don't have them. You need to sign up. Send an email and sign up so we can make sure that we have the adequate number of people that's going to be at that. That is this Wednesday from 7:30 to 8:30, and it is at the JADASA Resource Center out on West Florissant. You can go to our Facebook page and see the flyer as well. So I just wanted to talk about, and for more information on resources and programming of things of that nature, if you can go to the JADASA web page, jadasa.org, and it's going to show you everything that we have out there for you. If you want direct services, you want resources, go to the jadasa.org webpage. And so those are some of the announcements of the things that's going on that JADASA is being involved with, whether it's directly or indirectly. But we just wanted to put it out there and give you the resources and let you know a lot of these things are free. So majority of them are free, but the one is the game night that's getting money so we can help women and children who have been in abusive situations, abusive households, neglect, just trying to get away, just trying to start over. You know, everybody have their days, everybody have their times. And so this is their time, and we want to be there to offer. Don't wait till it come into your back door to realize what's going on. So let's think about others now and help them. So let's get started. Tonight I want to discuss on the JADASA website, I have an RSS feed that provides and scrolls across my page under, if you click on program, you see RSS feed, and it gives up-to-minute stories, laws, and information surrounding domestic and sexual abuse. So any stories that's going on in the United States, around the world, I get that RSS feed. And so when I was looking through my RSS feed, one of the things I realized, it talked about a story, a community that goes often unnoticed. And that is the deaf community, those who are hearing impaired. And so I listened to this one lady who was a domestic violence advocate. She's saying that, it's time for us to step up to help the deaf community during this pandemic and beyond. And as I read the story, it is so true, because one of the advocates who works with it's called ADWAS, ADWAS, and that is the Abused Deaf Women Advocacy Services, started to notice that this was a new kind of abuse that was going on, or a new kind of abuse that was brought to the forefront out of this pandemic. I'm telling you, this pandemic brought some stuff out. It brought some stuff out that, not only with the abuse, it brought stuff out with our education system. And I'm not going to go into the education system. We all know. But this pandemic has revealed a lot of stuff. And I'm not going to say reveal, it's just through the covers back, because a lot of stuff we already knew about. We just, figured throw it under the rug, out of sight, out of mind. Well, right now, it is in sight and in front in our minds. And it's something we can't just not look past as if, it's not happening. It is. It's right there in our face. So what can you do? And so this advocate was saying, with the pandemic leading to an increase in domestic violence, they are making sure, that our survivors in the communities are getting the help they need. But that help is not always easy for the deaf community. And so they're saying that it's hard for the deaf community to kind of reach out to get help, because we're staying safe from COVID-19. We're still in this pandemic, even though folks act like it's not. It's still going on. People still getting sick. People still dying. All of those things. And so people that are hearing impaired, or the deaf community, when they are also going through, they're going through an ordeal. Abuse already is bad itself. But I'm not saying it's an ordeal for them being deaf. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the ordeal makes it much harder for them, because now they're isolated, and then it's kind of hard for them to reach out or to get the help because of the hearing impaired, or whatever it is, because of the community. There's not the resources out there, right? And so they're saying, how does COVID-19 impact these type of abuses? And when a person who's hearing impaired or who's deaf, and they are experiencing abuse at the hand of their abuser, the abusive partner may share misinformation about the pandemic to control them or to frighten them. They do that whether you hearing impaired or not. Or they prevent them from seeking the appropriate medical attention if they have symptoms. But the reason why it's more harder, because deaf people tend to not have the same access to communication that everyone else needs, as far as advocacy services, as far as therapy, as far as counseling, all of these different things. There is not the same language or the same communication that's open to them to ensure that they have the access they need. What do you mean when you talk about open communication? Well, if they are hearing impaired and they're deaf, they need someone who is fluent in ASL, American Sign Language. So if they can't talk or they are hearing impaired and sometimes you can't really understand their speech, then they are going to tend to do sign language. Now, some of them may be able to read your lips. Yes, they may be able to read your lips, but sometimes if they're hearing impaired, it affects their the voice, their motor skills, as far as their voice, where they can't articulate as well because they can't hear themselves. And so that makes it much harder for them to try to convey what's going on with them so they can get the help they need. And the sad thing about it, when I looked at this, I talked about statistics, and it says, while deaf and hard of hearing people experience the same forms of violence, because we know abuse does not discriminate. It doesn't care whether you're rich, poor, black, white, smart, uneducated, deaf, mute, or you have all your, you don't have a hearing problem, or you don't have, you're not hearing challenged. Abuse is abuse. They deal with the same form of abuse as everybody else. But get this, people. Statistics says they are 1.5 times more likely than hearing people to experience domestic violence in their lifetime. Now, we already noticed the statistics says 1 in 3 or 1 in 4, 25% for regular, people who are not deaf or who are not hearing impaired. They 1.5. So that's 6. If we're 4, that's 6, right? 1.5. Okay, that's 6. So we know that there are some advocacy groups out there, that they're not many. There are not many out there that's always there to help them. So we have, again, the ADWAS, AWDAS, which is the Abuse, Deaf Women's Advocacy Services. And we also have the Deaf Hotline that's always out there to help them. So, of course, we as advocates may or may not have the resources to help our survivors or our clients who are deaf or who are hearing impaired. But we most definitely can reach out and refer them and try to find someone that can help them for our services. And I'm going to talk about that, what we can do, because this is a community effort. And so this is something that, it really struck me when I read about it, because I'm gonna be honest. I didn't think much, or it didn't come to mind until I read it. I'm like, you know what? That is a community of people that need these services that we were not, or we haven't been really able to help as much as we could or should or know about. I don't know which one, but we could do something. And so it says research on victimization within the deaf community suggests that deaf and hard of hearing individuals living in the United States have higher rates of domestic and sexual victimization. I already said that, right? 1.5. And that includes intimate partner violence, that includes psychological aggression and abuse, forced sexual experiences, and sexual assault, rape, than their hearing counterparts. That's a problem. That's a problem, that they have this that's going on. And so 1 in every 10 hearing women will experience a forced sexual experience in her lifetime. That statistics says 1 in 10. But get this, 1 in every 4 deaf women will experience a forced sexual experience in her lifetime. 1 in 10, 10% of the women that's not hearing or that can hear will have gone through this. But guess what? 1 in 4, that's 25% of deaf women. So if you have 10 people in the room that all can hear, out of those 10 people, 1 of them could most likely experience a sexual assault. But if you have 4 deaf women in a room, or women who are hearing impaired, out of 4, that's 1. That's 25%. That is something we have got to look into. We have to figure out what can we do. And so how do we, they say deaf, survivors of domestic violence experience many of the same tactics as those that their hearing counterparts, those that can hear. But again, they have to face unique tactics that must be understood and accounted for to effectively help survivors. And so they were just talking about some of these examples that the abusers do to those who they are abusing, who are either hearing impaired or deaf. And they say some of them have injured a victim's hands to prevent them from communicating in sign language, or using some kind of assistive equipment where if they sign, it will speak in the phone, or when it talks, maybe some kind of assistive device or whatever it is that they're doing, or hurt their hands where they can't do sign language. That's crazy. That is crazy. That's sick. Sometimes the abusers destroy devices for communication, including smartphones that they use for texting if they're trying to text, or video phones, or teletypewriters, those TTYs. When you see an 800 number and then they have another 800 number, it says TTY. Those are teletypewriters. When you're talking, it types. And sometimes abusers will take and destroy those type of equipment so they can't report it. They monitor electronic communications, and of course they do that with texts and emails and instant messaging and erasing things so they can't respond to it. And one time I did hear that one abuser threatened to abuse the hearing dog. They have hearing dogs or specially trained dogs that alert deaf individuals about sounds such as fire alarms, or they try to lead them to the source of a sound. They have animals or dogs that are specially trained for that. Some abusers have threatened to kill the dog so the abuser cannot get help. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. This was an eye opener for me. And also, and it says an abuser may refuse to do sign language. He may know because that's his spouse or his wife or whatever, his significant other, and he's been with them. Of course, he may know sign language. He may know some gestures to understand. He may refuse, or he or she may refuse to even do sign language to further isolate or punish the victim. This is what women or men who are hearing impaired or deaf and being abused at the same time go through. And so this domestic violence agent was saying that most program staffs and law enforcement officers often have little knowledge of sign language. How many police officers know sign language? Or how many domestic violence agencies that they may have someone on site that's a sign, that's an interpreter or who can sign? Not many. And so I think one of the things that we as advocates could try to do and to look into is how to locate interpreters. Now, there are a lot of interpreters, because if you notice, going into the faith-based organizations and the faith-based communities, when the pastor is up preaching or when the choir is singing, more times than none, you always see a signer over in the corner, sign language, or signing what is being taught or preached about, or signing the songs to the deaf community. And so I'm thinking that that's something that we advocates could look into, as far as trying to locate interpreters and find out how we can contract them for their service, for these types of services, to help when and should we come across, or we get a call from a survivor, or we get a call from a office, or we get a call from the shelter or something saying, hey, we have a client here who is hearing impaired. We need a signer. We need somebody that knows ASL, American Sign Language. We need somebody that can interpret how she's signing. We need somebody. And so that's something that I think that we as advocates could look into, contracting, because with those statistics, it's out there. They are going through the same type of things. They are going through the abuse, but yet they don't have all the resources available to them. I'm going to share a story about one particular lady, and before I get off this segment. And so we need to see how we can secure interpreters in a crisis. We need to see how we can do that we can have someone on contract to say, hey, that per diem, when I call you, you come out, this is the whatever your fee is, or whatever the negotiated the fee amount. We need to be able to find those individuals and see. And I'm going to start with it because, I ran across this article, and this is something, because this is an untapped market. This is a market that this is a group, a dynamic, a demographic that is falling through the cracks. I mean, it's enough that falling through the cracks anyway. But to be hearing impaired and to be from the deaf community, and you're going through this type of abuse, we want to be able to, if we can't give you the full service, at least we can contract somebody. We can contract an interpreter, someone that know how to do sign language to help survivors who are being abused and they are maybe hearing impaired or deaf. We need to find interpreters that we can contract and have them where we can call them and reach out to them. Hey, I have a client and I need you to come and find out what kind of services they provide. And so we need someone for emergency appointments, initial calls, help or impromptu meetings, such as conversations with the staff at residential programs or shelters, or even at the hospital in their death. We need to find signers that we can contact and say, hey, we're at the hospital with a client. This person is hearing impaired. We need somebody that can do sign language. Because the ultimate thing is we want to get them the help they need. And if they don't understand, they read lips, but we don't read lips, then there's still a barrier in the communication. And then when you're trying to talk to the law enforcement, you got to go through the judge, the courts, or whatever the process that particular person was going through. They're going to need somebody that's going to be able to sign or can talk to the person and then sign and communicate to them. They can communicate back to you, and then you can share with the law enforcement or other advocates or those natures. So we need that a person, because all of that present challenges. Again, aside from court proceedings and surrounding domestic and sexual violence, we need to have that group of people where we can have it on the standby and contract, because they're out there. I see them in churches all the time. They're always signing a song or something. So why not we grab these people and say, hey, can we contract you out for victim services? Should we come across a client that need these type of services? And so we need that because when they call for help, and the first responders is police officers. Again, like I said, it's not too many police officers, if any, that I know that would know sign language. So if you're a deaf person, you're trying to explain what's going on, how can you communicate what's going on and what's happening to you if nobody knows sign language? And then, so that's an untapped demographic that we need to look into. And so Ruth, this is a particular lady named Ruth. I'm calling her Ruth. So Ruth is a deaf person, a deaf woman who is fluent in American Sign Language, ASL, and she was married to a hearing man who knows sign language. He knew sign language. He was physically, emotionally, and verbally abusive, and he had total control over her finances. So finally, she got tired of it. Ruth got tired of the abuse, and she called the police. Well, they kept going back and forth with her, because they didn't know sign language. They didn't know sign language. And so she had to kind of write on the paper and say what she needed and all that stuff. So it went back and forth and everything. So they finally, it was stressful to her. That was added stress on top of what she was going through to try to share her story, to try to say what. So now they go turn around and talk to him because he's the hearing person. So that now she the one being abused. She the one called and did the 911 and called for the, to report the abuse. But because she's deaf, she can't talk. She's signing where he's not signing. So what they do, they go talk to him to try to find out what she's saying. You think he gonna tell everything that she's trying to sign? That was a barrier right there. And so finally they realized what was going on. They went and took her to the shelter. Oh, she went, they gave her shelter information. She went to a shelter. Somebody took her to the shelter. Well, she drove to the shelter and she got to the door where she was knocking on the door. Well, this particular shelter did not have windows. You could see out, you could see in, but they could see out. So this particular shelter did not have windows where she could see in. So she could not, because she was deaf, she could not hear the person saying, yes, may I help you or whatever. She's just knocking and knocking and knocking and not seeing on the inside. Now they can see on the outside. She can't see on the inside. So she can't hear them asking, may I help you? All she doing is knocking and knocking and knocking, hoping somebody to answer because she can't talk. She can't hear. And so when they finally decided 10 minutes later, she, that somebody came in and she was trying to tell them she was saying, I'm deaf, and she was trying to, so they brought her in to do the intake. The lady was going with her and she was trying to say, can you hear me? Can you understand me? She said, I'm deaf. Can I get a piece of paper? And so it was back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And the lady said, we don't have anybody here that can do sign language. We don't have that. We don't have the resources for that and stuff. So she said, well, can I have, she was writing, gesturing, give me a pencil. And she grabbed a piece of paper and they was back and forth trying to write and explain her story. She got so frustrated. She said, you know what? She left the shelter and said, I'd rather just go home and deal with the abuser than to deal with that. That shouldn't happen because the resources are not there to help her. That shouldn't happen because she needed someone to sign for her. American Sign Language. She needed someone to do some type of sign language to get her information across or to share what was going on her so she can get these type of resources. And so, we need, again, signers to help with court proceedings. We need signers that we can contract that will also help with direct services. When the police is called, from the time the police is called, if they're going to go to a shelter to intake, we need a signer that was going to help these people, a person that's hearing impaired or from the deaf community. We need a signer for that so they can share their story, so they can get the resources they need. If they have to go to court or they have to fill out a order of protection, they need a signer so they can understand and try to relay the information to the judge, the information when they're filling out this information. They need a signer for all these direct services. And so, again, what we as advocates need, we need to try to get a network of interpreters to contract for services. That's what we need, to contract for services so that we can deal with this demographic that is grossly underserved. Yes, statistics says they still go through abuse. Matter of fact, they go through it 1.5 times more than a hearing person. And so, but yet we don't have the adequate resources to help them when they are trying to communicate, to share and tell what is going on with them. And so, again, there are thousands of organizations across the United States who advocate for domestic and sexual abuse. I think it was total like 1,800, 2,000 different organizations, but yet only found that there was 12 organizations that deal with the deaf community. And so we need to, now I'm not sure if we have organizations in St. Louis or the metropolitan St. Louis area where we can provide these type of services. But in order to still help with the direct services to get them out of abusive situation, I think we need to come together to try to get a network of interpreters that we can contract when we need them to come to help with a person who's been abused, who is deaf or who is hearing impaired, and they understand sign language. We need to contract an interpreter or a person that can sign to help us get the person or the client the services they need. And so this is for the community. Deaf survivors of domestic and sexual violence are forced to make the choice every day, whether they go deal with trying to get they communicate with somebody to get their information across, or they just go back home and forget it out of frustration because they can't communicate, they can't hear, but then we don't have the adequate resources to help them communicate what is going on with them. And so Ruth is saying the same thing in this situation. What Ruth went through, she said, should I flee to safety in a shelter where I can't communicate with anyone or no one understands my culture, which is the deaf culture? Or should I stay in my home where my safety and well-being is at risk? That is the choice that Ruth, along with other survivors from this demographic, the deaf community or the hearing impaired community, is having to deal with. Those are the choices that they have to make, and that shouldn't be. And so no one should have to choose between their culture and language and their safety and healing. Nobody. And so again, that is what I want to talk about on this segment. This is a community. We have deaf people. They have their own community. We have hearing impaired. We still have to find a way to meet the need. And so with everyone's help, we can get the help to those who need it most. And we can work through this crisis together, because abuse is a crisis. It is a pandemic. It is an epidemic that's been going on for years and years and years. And so if you or anyone in your family, your friends, your circle, your neighbors who are experiencing abuse and neglect, give them the hotline number of 1-800-799-7233, or they can go to the hotline.org, or you can also call me, Cynthia Bennett with JADASA at 1-800-292-2145, or you can go to our email address at info@jadasa.org, or you can go to our website at jadasa.org and contact us that way. Jeremiah 29:11. I always go to a scripture with this because I like it. God says, for I know the thoughts that I think towards you, the thoughts of peace and not of evil, and to give you an expected end. When God, your end that you want, he wants to give you the end that you're expecting. And I know everybody's end, all our ends is not in abuse and neglect. God wants to. He said, I have plans for you. And my plans is of thoughts and peace. Those are my plans. That's my plans towards you. Thoughts and peace. And he said, and that is not of evil, but I want to give you the end that you are expecting. And so remember, JADASA is the community. You are the community. Therefore, you are JADASA. JADASA 24/7, 365 days, all day, every day. I want you to be safe. I want you to be well, and I want you to be whole. And with that, I bid you good night.